The late afternoon sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink as 14-year-old Tyler walked home from work. His feet hurt and his back ached from stacking boxes at Mr. Chun's grocery store for the past 5 hours. But none of that mattered when he felt the crumpled bills in his pocket. $28? It wasn't much, but it would help his mom buy groceries this week. Tyler's mind was already doing the math. Maybe they could get chicken instead of just rice and beans. Maybe even some fresh vegetables. His mom worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night and serving at a diner during the day. Every little bit helped. The neighborhood was quiet at this hour. Most people were home having dinner with their families. Tyler could smell someone grilling nearby and his stomach rumbled. He grabbed something when he got home. Maybe there were still some leftovers from yesterday. That's when he noticed the old man Dodd at first. Tyler thought he was just another person waiting at the bus stop. But something was off. The elderly man was pacing in small circles on the sidewalk, talking to himself. His clothes looked expensive but wrinkled, like he'd been wearing them for too long. His white hair stuck up in odd directions, and even from a distance, Tyler could see the confusion in his eyes. Tyler slowed his pace. Should he keep walking? It wasn't really his business. But something in his gut told him to stop. As he got closer, he could hear what the man was saying. I need to get home. Where's home? I don't know. A woman with a stroller walked past without even glancing at the old man. Then a young couple crossed to the other side of the street, deliberately avoiding him. Tyler felt a knot form in his stomach. How many people had already passed by? Excuse me, sir, Tyler said gently, approaching slowly so he wouldn't startle him. Are you okay? Do you need help? The old man turned to look at him, and Tyler saw real fear in his eyes. I can't find my house. I live somewhere around here. Don't I? His voice cracked with panic. Tyler's single quotes' first instinct was to call 911, but the man didn't seem dangerous. He seemed lost and scared, like Tyler's grandfather had been before he passed away. There was something familiar about that look of confusion. It's okay, sir. Let's sit down for a minute, all right? Tyler gestured to a nearby bench. The man nodded and let Tyler guide him to it. They sat in silence for a moment. The old man's hands were shaking, and he kept looking around as if he was trying to remember something just out of reach. What's your name? Tyler asked. Henry, I'm Henry. The man said it like he was relieved to remember. I was going somewhere important, but now I can't remember where. That's okay, Henry. We'll figure it out together. Tyler tried to sound more confident than he felt. Do you have a wallet or a phone on you? Henry patted his pockets with trembling hands. He pulled out a handkerchief and some loose change, but no wallet. Tyler's heart sank a little. Do you live nearby? Tyler tried again. I think so. Maybe everything looks the same. Henry's voice was getting more agitated. My daughter is going to be so worried. I shouldn't have left? Why did I leave? Tyler noticed something then. On Henry's wrist was a medical alert bracelet. He'd seen them before. His friend's little sister had one for her allergies. Henry, can I look at your bracelet? Tyler asked gently. Henry held out his wrist without protest. Tyler leaned in to read the small engraving. It said Henry's full name, a phone number, and one word that made everything click into place. Alzheimer's. Tyler had heard about Alzheimer's disease. His grandmother on his dad's side had it before she died. He remembered how she would forget people's names, even Tyler's sometimes. How she would get confused about where she was. It had been hard to watch. Okay, Henry, I see a phone number here. I'm going to call it, and I bet it's someone who's looking for you right now. Is that okay? Yes, please. Call them. Someone should know where I live. Henry looked so hopeful that Tyler felt his chest tighten. Tyler pulled out his old phone. The screen cracked from when he dropped it last month. He dialed the number carefully. It rang twice before someone picked up. Hello? A woman's voice, breathless and frantic. Hi, my name is Tyler. I'm here with a man named Henry. He seems a little confused, and I found this number on his medical bracelet. Oh, thank God. Thank God? The woman's voice broke. Is he okay? Is he hurt? He's fine, just a little confused about where he is. We're sitting on a bench at the corner of 5th and Maple Street. I'll be right there. Please, please don't leave him. I've been searching everywhere. Stay with him. I'm only about 10 minutes away. I'm not going anywhere, Tyler promised. We'll wait right here. When he hung up, Henry was looking at him with tears in his eyes. Someone's coming? Your daughter. She be here soon. I have a daughter? Henry's face lit up with wonder as if learning this for the first time. Then his expression crumbled. I should know that. Why can't I remember? Tyler didn't know what to say. Instead, he did what his mom always did when he was upset. He put his hand on Henry's shoulder and just sat with him. It's going to be okay, Tyler said quietly. Sometimes our brains play tricks on us. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you as a person. Henry nodded slowly, seeming to calm down a bit. They sat together in the fading light, an unlikely pair. Tyler's stomach rumbled again, reminding him he hadn't eaten. He glanced at his watch. His mom would be wondering where he was soon, but he'd made a promise. He wasn't leaving until Henry was safe. Tyler checked his phone again. 5 minutes had passed since he'd called Henry's daughter. It felt like an hour. The old man was getting more restless, standing up and sitting down every few seconds, looking down the street as if expecting someone to appear. She be here soon, Tyler said, trying to sound reassuring. But Henry didn't seem to hear him. I should go, Henry muttered, starting to stand again. I have somewhere to be? Something important. Tyler gently touched his arm. Henry, your daughter is coming to pick you up, remember? We just called her a few minutes ago. Henry looked at him confused. We did? Yeah, we did. She said she'd be here in 10 minutes. Oh, Henry sat back down, but Tyler could see he'd already forgotten again. This was going to be harder than he thought. Tyler's phone buzzed. A text from his mom. Where are you? Getting worried. He quickly typed back. Helping someone. Be home soon. Everything's fine, his mom replied immediately. Be safe. Love you. Tyler felt guilty making her worry, but he couldn't just leave Henry alone. What if he wandered off again? What if he walked into traffic? Are you hungry? Tyler asked Henry, remembering the sandwich shop he'd passed earlier. He still had those $28 in his pocket. The money he'd been saving to help with groceries. Henry thought about it. I don't know, maybe? I'm going to get us some water and something to eat. There's a store right there. Tyler pointed to the corner store about 30 feet away. Can you stay right here on this bench? Don't move, okay? I'll be back in 2 minutes. Henry nodded, but Tyler wasn't sure if he'd understood. He walked quickly to the store, keeping his eye on the bench through the window. Henry stayed put, thank goodness. Tyler grabbed 2 bottles of water and 2 pre-made sandwiches. It cost him $14, half his day's pay. But looking at Henry through the window, still sitting there looking lost and confused, Tyler knew it was the right thing to do. When he got back, Henry smiled at him like they were old friends. You came back? Of course I did. I said I would. Tyler handed him a sandwich and a water bottle. Here, you should eat something. Henry unwrapped the sandwich slowly, his hands still shaking. He took a small bite, then another. Tyler ate his own sandwich, realizing how hungry he actually was. They sat there together, eating in comfortable silence. After a few minutes, Henry spoke. You're a good boy. You remind me of someone, yeah? Who's that? Henry's face clouded over. I can't remember. But someone good? Someone who helped me once? He looked down at his sandwich. I'm broken, aren't I? The words hit Tyler hard. You're not broken, Henry. Your brain is sick, but that doesn't make you broken. You're still you. How do you know? Henry asked, and there was such sadness in his voice that Tyler had to look away for a second. Because even though you can't remember some things, you still know what's right and wrong. You said thank you when I gave you the sandwich? You care that your daughter might be worried. That's who you are, not just what you remember. Henry was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached over and patted Tyler's hand. Thank you, young man. A car turned onto the street, driving faster than it should. It screeched to a stop right in front of them. A woman jumped out before the car was even fully parked. She was probably in her 50s, with dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. "Dad?" She ran to Henry, dropping to her knees in front of the bench. "Dad, oh my God, I was so scared." Henry looked at her and something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, maybe, or just a feeling of familiarity. "Hello," he said carefully. "Dad, it's me." "It's Rebecca." The woman's voice cracked. She took his hands in hers. "You wandered off while I was making lunch? I've been driving around for over an hour looking for you." "I got lost," Henry said simply. "But this young man helped me. He's very kind." Rebecca turned to Tyler then, and he saw the relief and gratitude flooding her face. "You called me?" "Yes, ma'am. I found him on the corner and he seemed confused. I saw the medical bracelet and called the number." Rebecca stood up and pulled Tyler into a hug before he could even react. "Thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means." When she pulled back, she was crying again. He could have gotten hurt. He could have wandered into traffic or gotten on a bus or anything. "Thank you for staying with him." "It's okay," Tyler said, feeling awkward. "I just wanted to make sure he was safe." Rebecca wiped her eyes and reached for her purse. "Please, let me give you something. A reward. You saved my father's life." "No, that's okay. I don't need anything." Tyler took a step back, his hands up. "I'm just glad he's okay. Please, I insist." Rebecca pulled out her wallet. "Really, it's fine." Tyler felt uncomfortable taking money for helping someone. It didn't feel right. "I just did what anyone should do." But Rebecca wasn't listening. She was looking at the sandwich wrappers, the empty water bottles. "Did you buy him food?" "He seemed hungry," Tyler said with a shrug. "With your own money?" Rebecca's eyes filled with tears again. "How old are you?" 14? And you used your own money to feed a stranger?" She shook her head in disbelief. "Please, at least let me pay you back for that." "No, really." "It's okay." Rebecca looked at him for a long moment. Then she pulled out a business card from her wallet and a pen. She wrote something on the back of the card and handed it to Tyler. "This has my number on it, and my brother's number on the back. His name is Robert. He'll want to thank you too." She pressed the card into Tyler's hand. "Please, if you ever need anything at all, you call us. Promise me." Tyler took the card, not sure what else to do. "Okay, I promise." Rebecca helped Henry to his feet. "He was steady enough, just confused about where he was going." "Come on, Dad, let's get you home." "Home sounds nice," Henry said. Then he turned to Tyler. "Thank you, young man. You're very kind." "You already said that, Dad," Rebecca said gently. "Well, it's worth saying twice," Henry replied, and for just a second, there was a sharpness in his voice that suggested the man he used to be was still in there. Somewhere. Tyler watched as Rebecca carefully guided her father to the car. She opened the passenger door and helped him inside, buckling his seatbelt like he was a child. Through the window, Tyler could see Henry looking around. Already seeming to forget what had just happened, Rebecca came back over to Tyler one more time. "I mean it about calling. And I'm going to find a way to properly thank you for this." She glanced at Henry in the car. "He's my dad, you know. He taught me to ride a bike. He walked me down the aisle at my wedding. He's been my hero my whole life. And now I have to watch him forget who I am sometimes." Her voice broke again. "But today, because of you, he's safe. That's everything." Tyler didn't know what to say. His throat felt tight. "I'm glad I could help." Rebecca hugged him one more time, then got in the car. Tyler watched as they drove away, Henry waving at him through the window like a child. The street was quiet again. The sun had set completely now, and the streetlights were starting to come on. Tyler looked down at the business card in his hand. Rebecca Anderson, it read. Senior Vice President, Anderson Financial Group, on the back. She'd written Robert Anderson and a phone number. Tyler tucked the card into his pocket and started walking home. His feet still hurt, and he was even more tired than before. But something felt different. Lighter, maybe. He'd done something good today. Something that mattered. When he got home, his mom was sitting at the kitchen table, looking worried. The moment she saw him, she stood up. "Tyler, where were you? You had me so worried." "I'm sorry, Mom. There was this old man who needed help. He has Alzheimer's and got lost." His mother's expression softened immediately. "Oh, honey. Did you help him get home?" "I called his daughter. Stayed with him until she came." Tyler pulled out the remaining money from his pocket. $14. Half of what he'd earned today. His mom looked at the money, then at him. "You spent your money on him, didn't you?" Tyler nodded. His mother pulled him into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." "That was a good thing you did today?" Tyler hugged her back, breathing in the familiar smell of her perfume mixed with the cleaning products from her night job. It was the right thing to do. Not everyone would have done it, though. That's what makes you special. She pulled back and smiled at him. "Now, are you hungry? I saved you some dinner." As Tyler sat down to eat, he thought about Henry and Rebecca. He wondered if Henry would remember him tomorrow, or if today would just disappear like smoke. But maybe that didn't matter. Maybe what mattered was that in that moment Henry wasn't alone. Someone cared enough to stop and help. Tyler didn't know it then. But that simple act of kindness was about to change his life in ways he couldn't imagine. 3 hours later, Tyler was sitting on the worn couch in their small living room, helping his mom fold laundry from the laundromat. The TV was on low, playing some game show neither of them was really watching. His mom had just finished telling him about her day at the diner, about the rude customer who didn't leave a tip and the regular who always asked about Tyler. "Mrs. Patterson asked about you again today," his mom said, folding one of his school shirts. "She wanted to know if you're still getting good grades." "Tell her I got a B+ on my math test," Tyler said, matching up a pair of his socks. "I will. She'd be proud. You know, she's been asking me to bring you by the diner sometime. Says she wants to." His mom stopped mid-sentence. Tyler looked up and saw her staring out the window, her hands frozen on a towel. "Mom?" "What's wrong?" "Tyler, why is there a Mercedes parked in front of our building?" Tyler got up and looked out the window. Sure enough, a sleek black Mercedes was pulling up to the curb right in front of their apartment. In their neighborhood, cars like that didn't just show up. You saw old Hondas, beat-up trucks, maybe a newer Toyota if someone was doing well. But a Mercedes? Never. "Maybe they're lost," Tyler said, but even as he said it, he had a strange feeling in his stomach. They watched as two people got out of the car. Rebecca, the woman from earlier, and a tall man in a business suit. Tyler recognized Rebecca immediately, even from the third-floor window. "Tyler," his mom said slowly, "do you know those people?" "That's Henry's daughter." "The lady whose dad I helped today." His mom turned to look at him. "Why would she come here?" "I don't know. I didn't even tell her where I lived." But then Tyler remembered. When Rebecca had first answered the phone, he'd told her the street corner where they were. 5th and Maple, right at the end of his block. She must have seen which direction he'd walked after they left. Or maybe she'd asked around the neighborhood. People knew him here, Mr. Train at the store, Mrs. Lopez who always sat on her stoop, the guys who ran the barbershop on the corner. There was a knock on the door. Tyler's mom smoothed down her shirt, suddenly self-conscious. Tyler could see the worry in her eyes. They weren't used to visitors, especially not ones who drove cars that probably cost more than they made in 3 years. His mom opened the door, and there stood Rebecca and the man in the suit. Up close, Tyler could see the man looked a lot like Henry. Same blue eyes, same strong jaw. But where Henry had looked confused and lost, this man looked sharp and in control. "Hello," Rebecca said, her voice gentle. "I'm so sorry to show up like this unannounced. Are you Tyler's mother?" "I am." His mom's voice was cautious. "Is everything all right?" "Tyler said he helped your father today." "Yes, and that's exactly why we're here." "May we come in for just a moment?" "We won't take much of your time." Tyler's mom hesitated, then stepped back to let them in. Tyler could see her taking in their expensive clothes. The way they stood, everything about them that screamed money and success. Their tiny living room suddenly felt even smaller. The man extended his hand to Tyler's mom first, then to Tyler. "I'm Robert Anderson. Henry is my father. And you must be Tyler." "Yes, sir," Tyler said, shaking his hand. The man's grip was firm but not crushing. "Please sit down," Tyler's mom said, quickly moving the laundry basket off the couch. "I'm sorry, we weren't expecting company." "Please don't apologize," Rebecca said, sitting down. "We're the ones who should apologize for showing up like this. But after what happened today, we couldn't wait." Robert remained standing, his hands clasped in front of him. "Tyler, my sister told me what you did for our father. How you found him, stayed with him, bought him food with your own money. How you waited until she arrived to make sure he was safe." Tyler shifted his weight, uncomfortable with the attention. "It wasn't a big deal. Anyone would have done the same thing." "But that's not true," Robert said, and there was emotion in his voice now. "My sister was searching for over an hour. She told me at least a dozen people walked past my father before you stopped. Everyone else just kept walking." Tyler's mom reached over and squeezed his hand. He could see pride in her eyes, mixed with something else. Worry, maybe. She still didn't know why these people were really here. Rebecca leaned forward. "Tyler, can I tell you about my dad? About who he was before Alzheimer's took so much from him?" Tyler nodded. "My father was a veteran. He served in Vietnam. When he came home, he worked 3 jobs to put my brother and me through college. He never missed one of my soccer games, not one. When I lost my husband 5 years ago, Dad was the one who held me together." Her voice cracked. "He's the best man I've ever known. And watching him disappear a little more each day is the hardest thing I've ever been through." Robert picked up where his sister left off. "Today was the first time he's wandered off like that. We've been so careful, so watchful. But it only takes a second. One moment of distraction. And he was gone." He paused, collecting himself. "When Rebecca called me and told me what happened, told me about you, I had to come here myself." "I don't understand," Tyler's mom said quietly. "Tyler did a good thing, and we're glad your father is safe. But why are you here?" Robert and Rebecca exchanged a glance. Then Robert reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. "We want to thank Tyler properly," Robert said. "This is a check for $10,000. The room went silent. Tyler felt like the air had been sucked out of his lungs. His mom's hand went to her mouth. "We can't accept that," his mom said immediately. "That's too much. Way too much." "Please," Rebecca said. "Let me explain. After we got home, my dad did something he hasn't done in months. He remembered. Not everything, not even most things. But he remembered Tyler. He kept talking about the kind boy who helped me. He asked if we'd thanked you properly. And for just a little while, my dad was back." Tyler felt tears stinging his eyes. He blinked them back. Robert continued. "Tyler, my sister told me you spent half your day's pay on my father. Money you earned stacking boxes at a grocery store. Money you probably needed. You're 14 years old, and you showed more character in 1 hour than most adults show in a lifetime. My father taught us that kindness should always be acknowledged," Rebecca added. "He taught us to pay it forward. Please let us do this." Tyler's mom was crying now, quiet tears running down her cheeks. Tyler knew what $10,000 meant to them. That was months of rent. That was groceries for half a year. That was fixing the car that had been sitting broken in the parking lot for 3 months. That was security they'd never had. "There's something else," Robert said. He pulled out another envelope. "This is a letter from our family's foundation. We'd like to offer you a full scholarship when you're ready for college. Full tuition, books, housing, everything." Tyler couldn't speak. He looked at his mom, and she looked back at him, both of them crying now. "Why?" Tyler's mom whispered. "Why would you do all this?" Rebecca smiled through her own tears. "Because your son saw my father as a human being who needed help. He didn't see a confused old man. He didn't see someone else's problem. He saw someone who needed kindness, and he gave it without hesitation, without expecting anything in return. That's rare. That's precious. And that deserves to be rewarded. Robert placed both envelopes on the small coffee table. There's no pressure. Take time to think about it. Talk about it together. But please know this offer is sincere. We're not looking for anything in return. We just want to help the young man who helped our father when no one else would. And there's one more thing, Rebecca said softly. If it's okay with you both, we'd love for Tyler to visit my dad sometimes. In his good moments, he talks about you. I think having a visitor, especially someone who was kind to him, might help. But only if you're comfortable with that. Tyler found his voice. I'd like that. I'd like to visit Henry. His mom pulled him into a hug, holding him tight. Over her shoulder, Tyler saw Rebecca and Robert smiling, both of them wiping their own eyes. Sometimes Tyler thought doing the right thing isn't about what you get back. It's just about being the kind of person who stops when someone needs help. But sometimes, just sometimes, the universe finds a way to say thank you. And in that small living room, with its worn furniture and secondhand everything, Tyler realized that his life had just changed forever. Not because of the money, though that would help more than he could express, but because he'd learned something important. Kindness matters. It always matters. And sometimes it creates ripples bigger than you could ever imagine. 2 weeks had passed since that evening when Rebecca and Robert showed up at their door. Tyler still couldn't quite believe it had happened. The check was real, though. His mom had cried for an hour after they left, holding Tyler and repeating, "Thank you," over and over. Though he wasn't sure if she was thanking him or thanking God or thanking the universe itself. They'd paid 3 months of rent in advance, fixed the car, bought real groceries, the kind with fresh fruit and vegetables and meat that wasn't on sale because it was about to expire. His mom had even bought herself a new pair of work shoes, the first new shoes she'd had in 2 years. But most of the money sat in a savings account, untouched. His mom said it was for emergencies, for Tyler's future, for the life she'd always dreamed of giving him, but the check wasn't why Tyler was nervous right now. He stood outside a large house in a neighborhood he'd only ever seen from the bus window. The kind of neighborhood where the lawns were perfect and the houses looked like something from a magazine. Rebecca had invited him to visit Henry, and today was the day. Tyler had almost canceled 3 times. What if Henry didn't remember him? What if this was a mistake? What if he said something wrong or broke something expensive? But he'd promised. And Tyler kept his promises. He rang the doorbell. Chimes echoed inside, nothing like the buzzer at his apartment building. A moment later, Rebecca opened the door, her face breaking into a warm smile. "Tyler, I'm so glad you came. Come in, come in." The inside of the house was beautiful. Hardwood floors, family photos on the walls, furniture that looked comfortable and expensive at the same time. But Rebecca led him quickly through, not giving him time to feel too out of place. "Dad's in the sunroom. He's having a good day today. He had breakfast, read the newspaper, even did the crossword puzzle. Those days are getting rarer." She paused at a doorway and turned to him. "Tyler, I want to prepare you. Sometimes he'll remember you, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he'll be the dad I grew up with, sharp and funny. Other times he'll be confused or frustrated. Just be patient with him, okay?" "I will," Tyler promised. They walked into a bright room with windows overlooking a garden. And there was Henry, sitting in a comfortable chair, looking out at the flowers. He turned when he heard them enter. For a moment, Henry's face was blank. Then something shifted in his eyes. "I know you," he said slowly. "You're the boy." The kind boy. Tyler felt relief wash over him. "Hi, Henry. I came to visit like I promised." Henry's face lit up. "Rebecca, it's the boy who helped me. The one I told you about." "I know, Dad. I invited him." Rebecca's voice was gentle. "I'm going to make some tea. You two visit for a bit." She left them alone, and Tyler sat in the chair next to Henry. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Tyler searched for something to say. "Your garden is beautiful," he finally offered. "I used to take care of it myself," Henry said, looking out the window. Now Rebecca does most of it. My hands shake too much. He held up his hands, and Tyler could see the tremor. Getting old is not for the weak. Tyler smiled. My grandpa used to say that too, smart man. Henry looked at Tyler more carefully. You came back? Most people wouldn't have come back. You asked me to visit? I wanted to. Why? Henry's question was direct, curious. I'm not good company anymore. I forget things. I repeat myself. Sometimes I don't even know what year it is. Tyler thought about how to answer. My grandpa had Alzheimer's too, near the end. I was younger then, and I was scared of him sometimes. Scared of how different he was. I didn't visit him as much as I should have. Tyler felt the old guilt rising up. I always regretted that. So when Rebecca asked if I'd visit you, I thought maybe this was my chance to do better. Henry reached over and patted Tyler's hand. You're a good kid? Your grandpa would be proud of you. They talked for a while. Henry told Tyler about his time in the military, about meeting his wife at a dance 50 years ago, about how Rebecca used to make him play tea party when she was little. Some stories he told twice, forgetting he'd just shared them. Tyler didn't mind. He just listened. I'm scared, you know, Henry said suddenly, his voice dropping. Every day I wake up and there's a little less of me. I look at Rebecca and sometimes it takes me a minute to remember she's my daughter. My own daughter. His eyes filled with tears. What kind of father forgets his own child? The kind who has a disease? Tyler said firmly. It's not your fault, Henry. Your brain is sick, but your heart isn't. Rebecca knows you love her. Anyone can see that. How did you get so wise at such a young age? Henry asked. I'm not wise. I just know what it's like to be scared, to feel like you're losing control of everything. Tyler thought about the times before, when they'd had even less money than they did now, when his mom worked herself to exhaustion and they still couldn't make ends meet. Being scared doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Henry was quiet for a long moment. Will you come back? To visit again? If you want me to. I do. Even if I don't remember you next time, Rebecca will remind me. And maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll remember on my own. Henry smiled. Tell me about school. What's your favorite subject? Tyler told him about his classes, about his friends, about the history project he was working on. Henry listened with genuine interest, asking questions, making jokes. For those moments, Tyler could see the man Henry used to be. Sharp, engaged, fully present. Rebecca came back with tea and cookies. They sat together, the three of them, talking and laughing. Henry repeated a story about his time in the service, the same one he'd told Tyler earlier. Rebecca had probably heard it 1,000 times, but she listened like it was the first time. Smiling at all the right parts, when it was time to leave, Henry walked Tyler to the door, moving slowly but steadily. Thank you for coming, Henry said. It means more than you know. Sometimes I feel like I'm disappearing, like I'm already a ghost. But when someone visits, when someone takes the time, it reminds me I'm still here. I still matter. You do matter, Tyler said. You always will. Henry pulled him into a hug, the kind of hug Tyler's own grandfather used to give him. Strong and warm and safe. When they pulled apart, Henry's eyes were wet. You're going to do great things, Tyler, I can tell. The world needs more people like you. Rebecca walked Tyler out to the front porch. Thank you for coming. You have no idea what this means to him. To us. I'll come back next week if that's okay. More than okay. Tyler, can I tell you something? Rebecca looked back toward the house. My dad was always the person everyone went to for help. He was the one who'd drop everything to fix a neighbor's fence or help a stranger change a tire. He spent his whole life being there for other people. And now he's the one who needs help, and most people look away. They don't want to see it. They don't want to deal with it. But you see him. You see my dad, not just the disease? That's a gift. Tyler didn't know what to say to that. He just nodded. Robert wanted me to remind you about the scholarship, Rebecca continued. It's there whenever you're ready. No strings attached. We set up a college fund in your name. When you graduate high school, it'll be waiting. The weight of it hit Tyler again. His whole future changed because he'd done one kind thing. It didn't seem real. Why me? Tyler asked. You could help lots of kids with that money. We do help lots of kids. Our foundation gives out scholarships every year. But this one is special. This one is personal. Rebecca smiled. You gave us a gift, Tyler. You gave my father back to us, even if just for a few more hours. You made sure he was safe. And in doing that, you showed us that good people still exist in this world. People who help without expecting anything in return? That's worth investing in. As Tyler walked home, he thought about everything that had happened. How one decision to stop and help had changed everything. He thought about Henry slowly losing himself to a disease he couldn't fight. He thought about Rebecca, watching her father disappear but never giving up on him. When Tyler got home, his mom was in the kitchen making dinner. Real dinner with chicken and vegetables and rice. The smell made his stomach rumble. How was it? She asked. Good, really good. Henry remembered me. His mom hugged him. I'm proud of you, baby. Not because of the money or the scholarship. I'm proud because you have a good heart. You always have. That night, lying in bed, Tyler thought about what Henry had said. About feeling like he was disappearing. Tyler understood that feeling in a different way. Before all this, he'd felt invisible too. Just another kid from a poor neighborhood, another kid who'd probably struggled just to get by, but now he had a chance. A real chance at something better? And it all started because he'd chosen to see someone who needed help. Tyler made a promise to himself that night. He'd keep visiting Henry for as long as Henry wanted him there. He'd work hard in school. He'd make something of the opportunity he'd been given. And someday, when he had the chance, he'd do for someone else what Rebecca and Robert had done for him, because kindness wasn't just about one moment. It was about all the moments that came after. It was about taking what you'd been given and passing it forward, and that's exactly what Tyler intended to do. 6 months had passed since that first visit. Tyler now went to see Henry every Saturday afternoon, rain or shine. It had become the highlight of his week, though he'd never expected that. Some visits were good. Henry would be alert, telling stories, asking about Tyler's week at school, offering advice about girls and grades and life in general. Those were the days that reminded Tyler why he kept coming back. Other visits were hard. Days when Henry didn't recognize him at all. Days when Henry got angry or confused, accusing Tyler of stealing things or asking where his wife was, even though she'd passed away 3 years ago. On those days, Rebecca would apologize with tears in her eyes, and Tyler would assure her it was okay. Because it was. He'd learned that loving someone with Alzheimer's meant accepting all the versions of them. Even the difficult ones. Today was somewhere in between. Henry knew who Tyler was, but he was having trouble following conversations. They sat in the sunroom as usual, watching birds at the feeder Rebecca had hung in the garden. Tell me again what you're learning in school, Henry said, leaning forward in his chair. We're studying World War II in history, Tyler said. He told Henry the same thing last week, but it didn't matter. We learned about D-Day yesterday. Henry's eyes suddenly sharpened. I knew men who were there. At Normandy. Brave men. Scared boys, really? Most of them weren't much older than you. Tyler had heard this before, but he listened anyway. Henry's war stories were important to him, a connection to who he used to be. I wasn't at D-Day, Henry continued. Vietnam was my war. Different time, different fight, but the fear is the same. The brotherhood is the same. He looked at Tyler. You have that kind of loyalty in you. I can tell. You come here every week, even though I'm not always good company. That's loyalty. You're always good company, Tyler said, and he meant it. Rebecca came in with lunch on a tray. Sandwiches, fruit, lemonade. She'd started making lunch for Tyler too, insisting he needed to eat more. Tyler's mom joked that he was getting spoiled, but she was grateful someone else was looking after her son. How are my 2 favorite men doing? Rebecca asked, setting the tray down. Good, Henry said. This young man was telling me about his studies. Smart kid? Going places. Rebecca smiled at Tyler. It was a sad smile, though. Tyler had noticed she smiled like that more often lately. Henry was declining. Everyone could see it. The good days were fewer, the confused days more frequent. Last week, he'd forgotten Rebecca's name for almost an hour. After lunch, Tyler helped Henry walk around the garden. It was something the doctor recommended, keeping him moving. Henry held Tyler's arm for support, his grip weak but trusting. "I want to tell you something," Henry said as they walked slowly between the flower beds. "I won't remember saying this tomorrow, probably won't remember it in an hour. But right now, I know it's important. I'm listening. You changed my daughter's life. Mine too. Robert's, my whole family." Henry stopped walking and turned to face Tyler. "The day you found me, I was scared. More scared than I've ever been, and I've been in combat. I was lost, couldn't find my way home, couldn't remember where I lived. And everyone just walked past me like I was invisible." Tyler felt a lump forming in his throat. "But you stopped. You sat with me. You made me feel human again, not just some confused old man." Henry's eyes were wet now. "That kindness, Tyler, it reminded my family that good people still exist. It reminded me that I still mattered, even like this." "You do matter, Henry. You always will." Henry pulled him into a hug right there in the garden. "I need you to promise me something. When I'm gone, whenever that is, I need you to remember that what you did mattered. That small act of kindness had a ripple effect you can't even see. Promise me you'll keep being that person. The one who stops. The one who helps. I promise." They stood there for a moment. Two people from completely different worlds, connected by one moment of compassion that had grown into something neither of them expected. When Tyler got home that evening, his mom was at the kitchen table with papers spread out in front of her. She looked up when he walked in, and her eyes were shining. "Baby, sit down. I need to tell you something." Tyler's heart jumped. His mom looked happy, but there were tears on her cheeks. Good tears or bad tears, he couldn't tell yet. "I got a call today from Robert," she said. "He asked me to come to his office. I thought maybe something was wrong, but Tyler ... She had to stop and collect herself. "He offered me a job." "What?" "His company needs someone to manage their community outreach program, working with local charities, organizing volunteer events, helping families in need. He said he couldn't think of anyone better than a woman who raised a son like you on her own." His mom was crying freely now. "It pays 3 times what I make at both my jobs combined. It has health insurance, Tyler, real health insurance, and normal hours. I won't have to work nights anymore." Tyler felt like he couldn't breathe. "Mom, that's incredible. There's more. He said the job comes with a housing allowance. We can move out of the apartment. Get a real house with a yard. Maybe even in a better school district." She reached across the table and grabbed his hands. "This is because of you. Because you helped Henry. This is all because you have a good heart." Tyler couldn't hold back his tears anymore. He got up and hugged his mom, both of them crying and laughing at the same time. "When do you start?" he asked. 2 weeks. I already gave notice at the diner and the cleaning company." "Tyler, I can't believe this is real. After all these years of struggling, of working myself to the bone and barely making ends meet, finally something good is happening." That night, Tyler lay in bed thinking about everything. How one decision had changed not just his life, but his mom's too. How stopping to help one confused old man had created opportunities he never could have imagined, but it wasn't really about the money or the job or the scholarship. Those things were wonderful, life-changing even. But the real gift was what Tyler had learned. He'd learned that kindness was never wasted, that helping someone in their darkest moment could light up your own life in ways you'd never expect. That human connection mattered more than anything else. The next Saturday, Tyler arrived at Henry's house to find an extra car in the driveway. Robert's car. When Rebecca let him in, Robert was there in the sunroom with Henry. "Tyler, perfect timing," Robert said, standing up. "I wanted to thank you in person for inspiring us." Your mom told you about the job? Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Actually, I did. Your mother is perfect for the position, and we've been struggling to find the right person. But more than that, you reminded me of something important. Robert glanced at his father. Dad spent his whole life helping people. He taught us that success means nothing if you don't use it to lift others up. Somewhere along the way, I'd forgotten that. I got caught up in profits and margins and forgot about people. You reminded me what really matters. Henry was listening, a small smile on his face. Tyler wasn't sure how much he understood, but he seemed content. The foundation is expanding, Robert continued. We're going to fund 10 more scholarships next year, all for kids who show exceptional character, not just good grades. Kids who help others without expecting anything back. We're calling it the Tyler Initiative. Tyler felt like the room was spinning. You're naming it after me? You're the inspiration. You showed us what we should be looking for: kindness, compassion, the courage to stop when everyone else walks by. Robert put his hand on Tyler's shoulder. You're going to help a lot of kids get the same chance you're getting. That's your legacy, Tyler. At 14 years old, you already have a legacy. Rebecca wiped her eyes. Dad would be so proud if he fully understood all of this. But I think part of him knows. Look at him. They all turned to look at Henry. He was smiling at Tyler with such warmth, such genuine affection. Maybe he didn't understand all the details, but he understood what mattered. He understood that the boy who'd helped him that day had turned out to be something special. Come here. Son, Henry said, using the word son for the first time. Tyler went to him, and Henry took his hand. I may not remember tomorrow, Henry said slowly, carefully. But right now, in this moment, I want you to know something. You saved my life that day, not just because I was lost. You saved me because you made me feel like I still mattered, like I was still worth someone's time. That's the greatest gift you can give a person who's losing themselves. You gave me dignity. You gave me hope. And I'll carry that with me even when I forget your name, even when I forget everything else. Somewhere deep down, I'll remember that feeling of being seen, of being valued. Thank you for that. Tyler couldn't speak. He just held Henry's hand and nodded, tears streaming down his face. As he walked home that evening, Tyler thought about the journey. It had started with one simple choice: stop or keep walking, help or look away. He'd chosen to stop, to help, to care, and that choice had created ripples that kept spreading, touching more lives than he could count. His mom would have a better job. Other kids would get scholarships. Henry had felt valued in his darkest time. A family had been reminded of what really mattered, all because one 14-year-old boy decided that a confused stranger was worth his time. Tyler realized then that this was just the beginning. He had a responsibility now. Not because of the money or the opportunities, but because he'd seen firsthand how much impact one person could have. He'd seen how one act of kindness could change everything, and he intended to spend the rest of his life paying it forward, helping others the way Henry's family had helped him, stopping when others walked by, seeing the value in every person he met, because that's what Henry had taught him. That's what this whole experience had shown him. Every person matters. Every moment of kindness counts. And you never know when one small decision to help someone might change not just their life, but yours too, and countless others you haven't even met yet. That was the real gift. And Tyler would carry it with him forever.